But let's continue on, because there's another word in the Old Testament that's synonymous with the word phylactery in the New Testament. You got it?
And shall talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
Right, and that's one of the breakdowns of Judges, the 5th chapter, where it says, they shall rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. Rehearsing the righteous acts means, telling or retelling the things that the Lord has done out of the law, but also, doing the things that are contained within the law, practicing them, putting them into practice. Like we keep the Passover, we keep the high holy days, we keep the Sabbath. We wear beards on our face, we wear fringes on the garments of our, the borders of our garments, so on and so forth. Go ahead.
Come.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's like for plays they have rehearsal, the rehearsal recitals. So you're trying to the best of your ability to get it down perfect, although it won't be perfect until that final set.
That's right, and that's the practice that you put it into use as a practice until the day when it comes time to actually do the actual performance. You got it.
Come, verse 8, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes.
Was that the end of the 8th verse?
Come.
Okay, so somebody look up the word frontlets. And then somebody can get the one in Matthew 23, where it spoke of Yahushua was cursing them Pharisees out.
Strong's?
Yes.
All right, it says bands, phylacteries, frontlets, ropes.
What else? Is there anything
It
else?
says the forehead. It said a fillet for the forehead.
Any other?
Frontlet. Yeah, that's what it says.
Bands,
here,
right.
strong.
Right. Which is what? Which is where they read it.
Come.
Read that
This
part.
is the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon for that, right? It says, especially worn by the Jews at prayer, scrolls of parchment with sentences written on them out of the law of Moses.
Right. And these were some of the laws that were put in that, that thing that they put on their forehead,
Box.
and then they wrap it in that box, and then they wrap it around their head, and they wrap it around their arm. It actually had words written within there. So those frontlets were real. The frontlets were actually the written law, in the scriptures,
If I can.
Yeah, bring it out.
Because even in the beginning of that verse it says, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand. And when you go into that part, thou shalt bind them, it goes back into saying tie physically. It says to bind or to tie together physically.
Right. Because he's saying it's a spiritual thing, which this is actually a physical thing that we're reading about. And it's also spiritual because we put it into rehearsal. We study it so it could be inside of our minds. But these frontlets were actual physical things that were actually worn on the forehead and wrapped around your arm. Right? Which we're going to go back to Deuteronomy 6. But what I want to do is go to Matthew, the 23rd chapter. We're going to read that, and then we're going to get the word phylactery in the blue letter. To show you that, see, he was doing a whole lot of filibustering. Because at the end of the day, he's trying to sound deep, but really he's not really answering the question. He's pretty much avoiding the question. Then he ends it off by saying, well, I'm not going to take the microchip, but, that's not the MOTB.
Right.
But why don't you tell your listeners not to take it either? You know what I mean? Because as a shepherd, you're supposed to warn the people. There's danger coming. And this danger that's coming, you're supposed to be a shepherd that lead them as to what to do to make the right decisions. Give them the right understanding, so when the time comes, they either make the right choice or the wrong choice.
Just tell them what it is. That's it.
That's it.
Just beating around the bush. Tell them what it is. Warn them.
That's it.
Trying to sugarcoat it.
Yep.
And send you something that it ain't. That's what these other camps are doing.
Right. Not make it ambiguous. You're here. It is. You're guessing at what the MOTB might be. Well, they say it's not this, but they say it's spiritual, so you're going to confuse the people. So when they do bring it out, just like with the jab, people took it because they trusted in you, that's their fault. Cursed be he that trusted the man and maketh arm his flesh. You're supposed to have the sense of not just following behind somebody. You're supposed to be able to go out there and search it out so that you can know for yourself that this is the right thing you're doing. Scriptures say that every man before they persuaded in his own mind. You know, that means you will have to take in what the information that's given to you from the teacher that you're listening to and go back and search it out to see if it's actually true what they're saying. You got a
Yeah,
precept?
I got something real quick. It says Matthew 5:37. It says, "But let your communication be yeah, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil." You know, so shit, there's no gray area. It's
Right.
yes or a no. Same with the, see it. You know, it's this. It's not maybe spiritual.
Right.
Nah, it is the see it, but that's it.
Right.
You know, like you said, you ain't gonna have anybody else guessing. There's no gray areas with the Lord.
That's it. You know, and then you have, see, you're this individual, Captain Tazariak, he's done much research. He's done, debates. He's gone into books and different history and different scriptures where he can go and prove somebody wrong. So it's not that he lacks the ability to do the research, and he's wise enough to know that it is the micro C-hip, but he's not going to say that because his leader didn't say that. And this is where you're at fault there, because your leader's going to be judged and you're going to be judged because you followed behind him. The blind lead the blind, they shall both fall into a ditch. Y'all got it.
This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 2, and verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people,
Beautiful.
even as there shall be false teachers among you.
Right. Now, how do you tell a false prophet? Scripturally. How do you tell how do you discern or weigh out who a false prophet is and who's the right prophet?
They don't speak according to this word. There's no light in them.
Beautiful. That's one. That's Isaiah 8:20. You can bring that one out.
Precept upon precept.
That's good. There's a main one I'm thinking about.
I know there's a 1 John 4 chapter.
That's it. Boom. You bring it out. Yep.
This is 1 John 4 and 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of the Most High, because many false prophets are going out into the world.
So the Bible is the measuring stick to everything. And if the man would take the time to research, the word MARK in Revelation 13, and not just go by the English word, but go to the Greek, he would be able to see that it goes into something deeper than just, accepting it in your mind and then, putting your hand to do whatever as it being part of your hand. He would know that, the imprint, something that's imprinted. And there's even one word that uses the word graven in Acts 17, which goes back to the word charagma. How do you engrave an idol? You got to take a chisel and cut into that idol, whether it's stone, whether it's a wood, or whatever the case may be, to shape it and mold it. So that same tool that's used to shape that is the same thing that's used to insert that device into a person. And the thing that they never usually touch on, which they're trying to go into it now, is the part about buying and selling with this particular MARK. They don't touch that.
They don't touch on the grievous sword either.
Oh, well, that's, y'all got it,
That's the spirit. Now, 'cause I was literally just